Our approach is person-centered counseling with active listening, empathy, unconditional acceptance, non-judgmental and non-directive. Active listening and empathy. When we discuss our problem with our friends or others or family members, they will not listen actively. That is, they will always see your problem from their perspective. They simply evaluate, or they will not put enough effort to understand your perspective or your point of view, what you are trying to express. But here in our conversation, I try to understand as clearly as possible your perspective, your point of view, what you are trying to express. That is called empathy. Understanding you as clearly as possible without any interpretation or my point of view or my bias. That is, we can call active listening and empathy. It will be with acceptance. That is unconditional acceptance. What is that? So when you share your story, your problem, I am not going to say that this is what you have to share, this you should not share, and this is right, this is wrong. So I am not going to have any condition in it. So when you are sharing your story, you just share in your own flow and in your own way. For example, majority of the times, when people are sharing their problem and stories, they keep on switch one topic to other topic, in their conversation. So I never going to say you just complete one topic, then we can go to the other topic. No, I will not say that. It's a person-centered approach. So the whatever topic you want to discuss, you can discuss. When you want to switch the topic, when you want to discuss different matter, of course that is fine. You can go back and forth. No problem, no issues. So that is called unconditional acceptance. There is no condition that you have to share this, you have to share that. We will complete this, then we can go to the next topic. Anything. Because human problem is complex. Usually we start with one problem, then we end with some other things, a different problem. Because that is how the mind works. It's a complex. So I should not have a condition on it. I have to allow as you are expressing yourself, whatever way that you would like to express. So that is called unconditional acceptance. When it comes to sharing your problem, so that is the thing. And non-judgmental. What is non-judgmental? Sometimes the problem will be very simple from the society's point of view. Very simple or silly. But that particular issue might be a most important thing in your life or in your perspective. I should not simply ignore, or I should not simply see that from the social perspective or society's perspective. For example, a student sharing that the mark issue, the exam mark issue. So she or he got a low marks. The student is very stressed or anxious, whatever. From society's perspective, we can say, mark, why the student is worrying too much about the mark. It's fine. There is other exam, there is lot of chance. Marks will not determine our future. So we can say a lot of things. But this particular time, for this particular student, that is what most important. I should not judge the person or the scenario based on my point of view or society's point of view. I have to understand and accept the person without any judgment, whether it is right, whether it is wrong, whether it is important, whether it is not important. I should not judge, or I should not judge the person also. You are lazy, you are not good, what you are doing is wrong, what you are doing is completely wrong. No, whatever you are doing, okay, I will accept and I will listen. So that is very important. Acceptance. I am not judging you, based on your action, but I am accepting you in this conversation. That is very important. And also, our conversation will be non-directive. Non-directive in the sense there will be no direction, that something that I am deciding. For example, which topic we are going to discuss today, or which activity we are going to discuss or do today. I am not going to decide anything, because our mind has its own process or its own way of communicating or telling the story. If I put a direction, it will interrupt the natural flow of the story. So the counseling is the person-centered approach. It's all about allowing the person to express and explore his own world. Many things will come up, lot of realization will happen, lot of understanding will happen in client, lot of clarity the client will get. So if I put a direction, there will be interruption in that process. That should not be there. So that is why it's a non-directive. I will not direct what we have to discuss. For example, sometimes the direction will be indirect. That is, I will ask some questions to you. You may start answer for those questions. So then I will ask follow-up questions. So what happens? I am giving a direction. So you started just follow my questions, or you just started answer my questions. So there is a different direction, or I artificially given something in the natural flow. That should not be there. So that is why I will not ask any questions. I just understand you and I just reflect. So that is why it's very unique space. When we are discussing with each other, so in a very unique manner. That is very important. So what is the use of this particular space? For example, a lot of things we have in our mind, but when we think about it, we will get a clarity, definitely. When we verbalize and express it, the clarity will be much better. Okay. If somebody able to understand your story, the material that you verbalize from your mind, clarity will be very high. When other individual reflects without any suggestion, without any interpretation or bias, the person reflects what you really expressed, that leads to much better clarity, better understanding about what you have in your mind. So the understanding itself leads to change. That's it. You should not put any special effort to bring change in your life. First you have to understand what is there in your mind.